We're looking at a hilarious video from stand-up comedian Jew Danny Polishuk today. Definitely go check out his channel if you haven't already. He's worked a lot in the past with Ryan Long, and he's been on Tim Pool's podcast quite a few times. He's a Jew. He has a Jew. And this video is titled "The Guy That Researches How Many Jews Are in Things." Let's take a look.
Oh, hi there. My name's Aaron Hill, and I'm the guy that researches how many Jews there are in things. You've probably seen some of my work, most notably from when Kanye West shared my Jews in the media spreadsheet, or more recently when the infographic I made also about Jews in the media has been going around. You know, some people's hobbies are video games, other people's hobbies are sports, and my hobby is how many Jews there are in things. Speaking of sports, did you know that the NBA has 14 Jewish owners out of 30 teams? That's pretty weird considering they only make up 2% of the population. Just saying. Whenever I find a Jew, I put a Star of David over their photo to indicate that they are Jewish. Think of it like maybe an armband, but a digital one that I put on there to keep track of them. Some people on the internet call me names or say I'm an anti-Semite because I get some things wrong or am purposely misleading, but I'm not an anti-Semite. I just like to know how many Jews there are in things. And sure, there's some mistakes sometimes, but we all make mistakes, or sometimes I won't have enough Jews to put on the infographic, so I'll embellish a little bit, like the Jews, and I'll do things like put Steve Jobs on there as a Jew, which is obviously not true, or put Bob Iger of Disney on 12 different times with different versions of his name. It doesn't really matter. People believe it because they're fucking idiots. Take Comcast NBC, for example. They have 186,000 employees, and here I counted 100 Jews working there. Concerning. A lot of my former friends and family find it weird how obsessed I am with Jews and how many there are in things. But what I find weird is that 212 Jews have received Nobel Prizes, which makes up 22% of all Nobel Prizes ever given out. Pretty weird considering they only make up 0.2% of the world's population, right? Some people say, what's the big deal that Jews are overrepresented in things? Surely they're underrepresented in other things. Wouldn't it basically make me a communist to want exact representation in all things? But that's not what I want. I just want there to be no Jews in any things. I'm a utopian. Here's another thing I'm working on, the U.S. House of Representatives. There are 25 Jewish members sitting out of 435 possible seats. That makes up 6% of the total, yet again, Jews are only 2% of the U.S. population, and that is very fascinating. Also, I wouldn't want you to think that I'm so one-dimensional that my only hobby is counting how many Jews there are in things. I also like to independently investigate inaccuracies in Holocaust statistics. And every day when I go to bed, I pray that I could be relieved of this burden of having to count how many Jews there are in things. If you catch my drift, Iran. What was that? Mother? Dinner time? Mother's calling me for dinner. She made my favorite tonight, boiled potatoes.
Yeah, you can see my interest are dinosaurs. All right, fuck off. I'm sad to say I've met that guy. Like, actually, multiple times in the last couple of weeks when I was on Omi TV doing debates, I've met that stereotype. Like, that actual guy is a real person that exists. I mean, it's also like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. Maybe Tucker hasn't really reached that level yet, but it's definitely Candace Owens and the people that she surrounds herself with. But I've met that character. I've actually like debated with him, and I ended up. You reach a point where you're just like, sir, sincerely, you're retarded. Like, there's really nothing else to add. I wanna be able to debate with you in good faith. And so people get angry at me for sometimes when I speak to people. They're like, "Oh, you're not nice enough. You're not this. You're not cordial enough." Like, no, listen. I do many debates. I do thousands at this point with people all over the world. When you meet the person who just wants to count how many Jews there are in things, which by the way is a real human being, there's only so far you can go. They've been so indoctrinated. Their brain is it's turned into mush. So there's not much in there to be able to work with. And I like to imagine that every human being has potential, but there's some people who it does require a heavy dose of making fun of them, in my opinion. Okay, this is the strategy that I've employed of calling them retarded, of putting them down a bit, to actually get them to start waking up. Because if you embarrass, I really believe that embarrassment, especially if somebody who's being a fool, like if you acting like a fool and you get embarrassed a bit, it actually wakes you up, especially if you get embarrassed in a public setting. That's why these debates are so important. Now, I know that the age of debating has gotten so terrible recently, but if you find somebody who just likes to count how many Jews there are and things, and their second favorite hobby is figuring out how many CEOs are Jewish and denying numbers of the Holocaust, it's like you put all that together and you get hopefully a perfect representative that you can make fun of, that will then inspire other people who think like him or her to actually want to come up to the plate and to get in debate as well, and then get embarrassed. And you can continue the cycle of basically wiping these ideologies off the map, because you do it through embarrassment. And I really, really believe that's like the ultimate strategy. And if we were to employ Hasbara, like in the best way possible, it would be to train how to debunk these people in the funniest and most entertaining ways possible, so you can just meme the shit out of the internet. People forget. I say this all the time, and it's a big inspiration I've gotten from Tim Pool. Counterculture, counterculture, counterculture. This, by the way, is a perfect example of what Danny Polishuk did here. This is incredible counterculture, and you should go follow him right now. His link of the video and his channel will be in the description. Go subscribe. Go show him some love. He's a great creator. He's hilarious. He's a great stand-up comic. And let's take a look real quick at the comments a little bit. I'm just curious, because I'm wondering how many people actually took it seriously. This is completely harmless. He's merely calculating the proportion of them and things, or their concentration, if you will. I wonder why this guy gets so much more attention than the guy that researches how many Chileans are and things. Thankfully, I stopped doing this after I started taking noticeable Jew. I don't understand that joke. First, Danny came to count the communists, and I did not speak out. Then Danny came to count the Jews, and I did not speak out. Then Danny came to count the trade unionists, and I said, have you already counted all the Jews? When I go to places with my Jewish friends, the two of us are combined 50% Jewish, and since 50% rounds up to 1, that means I no longer exist as a non-Jew. Pretty weird, considering Jews only make up 50% of us when we go places. Leave it to a Jew to take all the fun things out of being a Jew. Peter Griffin. Every single member of my family is Jewish. Very sus, if you ask me. That is very sus. Being 50% German, I'm in half support. Fucking hilarious. Wait a minute. This video is 100% Jewish? Oh, God. That's hilarious. The German one is really funny. That is so funny. Well, there you go. That's the state of affairs today, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Danny for making such a great video. I've been Tal the Traveling Clat, your favorite Zionist prince. Love you guys a long time. Goodbye, Clats.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.